Hello, my name is Matthew Peterson, and I am an addict. I am addicted to playoff machines. I spend all day cranking out different possibilities for the Browns to go all the way from the 1 seed to even potentially the 7 seed. So I figured I would share my addiction with you guys today and have a nice, AA meeting, or I guess a playoff addicts meeting, and run through some playoff scenarios, paths, and odds. Now let's just set the table for a moment by looking at the current AFC playoff picture. We're filming today's show, by the way, during our live show, which airs every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So depending on when you're watching this, of course, is subject to change with more games, like the NFC side of things, which I think this is going to go out after Thursday Night Football. I think the Rams are going to win, which would put them at the 6th spot in the wild card race. But if the Saints win, they would jump all the way to that 6th spot with an 8-win record. But let's get into this by talking about the 3 elements of today's show, right? The playoff path to a wild card spot. Let's just talk about getting into the dance, right? You just want a seat at the table, all right? Let's look at that. The bare minimum. Remaining schedule. You've got the Texans on the road. You've got the Jets at home. You got the Bengals on the road. So 2 out of your last 3 games on the road, where the Browns have not fared very well, let's be honest. But there is a path for the Browns to win on Sunday and clinch a playoff spot. In fact, there are actually 8 paths, but they're all very confusing. So I just picked which one looked the most likely to me, if you will. So here is the most likely scenario, in my opinion, for the Browns to clinch in Week 16. They have to beat the Texans, and then they need some help. Again, this is just clinching this week. Pittsburgh lose to Cincinnati. That doesn't seem unrealistic. Denver loses to New England. Not too likely. The Patriots have been awful, but it's Belichick. Can't ever quite rule them out. They got the Jags losing at Tampa Bay. The Jags are on a 3-game losing streak. The Bucs are hot. I can get behind that. And then finally, Indianapolis wins at Atlanta. The Falcons just lost to the Panthers. The Colts are 8-6. So all those things by themselves don't sound outlandish. It's when they all also have to happen in the same week that it becomes very unlikely. So I don't think the Browns are going to clinch a playoff spot on Sunday. It's not completely in their control. But I do think they are going to clinch a playoff spot in the next 2 weeks. In fact, if you look at the last 3 games here, if the Browns just win 2 games, all right, they win all 3, of course they've clinched. But let's just say they win 2 games. 99% chance they clinch. It kind of depends on which 2 games they win, but if they win 2 games, they get to 11 wins, they're in. The playoff simulator says 99%. It's basically 100. Now, what you're probably wondering is, what if they just win 1 game, right? What if they just beat the Jets at home and drop those 2 road games to 2 above 500 teams, which isn't out of the question? If they win just 1 out of the 3 remaining games, 95 to 99% chance they clinch. You get to 10 wins in a 7-team playoff, you're going to make the postseason. The only exception was in the first year of the 7-team playoff, the Indianapolis Colts were the 7th seed, and they had, I believe, 11 wins before they went off to play in Buffalo. So I'm pretty confident that 1 win, you're going to be in. Finally, if you don't win a single game, if the Browns, God forbid, were to lose out, they're not dead. They'd go to 9-8, and it says 16% chance of making the postseason. So 1 win, get to 10 wins, it's pretty much locked up here. Now, before we get on to the rest of the playoff path and whatnot, what's your Browns record prediction over the next 3 weeks here? At Houston, home against the Jets, at Cincinnati. Let me know what your record prediction is down below in the comment section. I think the Browns are going to go 2-1 in that stretch. My record prediction is 2-1. You can attribute a loss to either Cincinnati or Houston, but go 1-1 on the road and beat the Jets at home on Thursday Night Football. And I think the Browns with 2-1, well, I know the Browns with 2-1 are in at that point. Now, if you're wondering, what about the AFC North title? Well, we're going to talk about that next on today's show. But our sponsor today is Game Time. You guys should not have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. If you're trying to catch an upcoming Browns game, or if you want to see a concert or another sporting event in your area, Game Time is the place to visit first. What I love about Game Time specifically is the ability to get last-minute tickets for the lowest price. There's nothing better than a spur-of-the-moment boys trip to a game, and with Game Time, you can do that without breaking the bank. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but once again, download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem the code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Second element of the playoff path. What about winning the division, right? For the first time in AFC North history, the Browns could win the division here. Well, they have to take down the Baltimore Ravens, right? That is the competition here. The Bengals are out of it. The Steelers are out of it. It's a two-horse race. And here's the remaining schedule for the Browns and the Ravens. And we talked about this on a previous episode here on the channel. But if you just missed it, let me catch you up to speed. The Browns would have to win out, right? If the Ravens win 2 games, they get to 13 wins. The Browns can't catch up. If the Ravens win 1 game, they get to 12 wins. The Browns win out, they get to 12 wins. There is a way where if the Browns only win 2 games and the Ravens don't win another game, but I don't think the Ravens are losing out. So let's assume at minimum the Ravens go 2-1, right? 1-2, excuse me. Get themselves to 12-5, and the Browns finish 12-5. The tiebreaker would go to Cleveland in that case, but I don't think it's out of bounds to say the Ravens go 1-2. They're going to play at the 49ers on Christmas night. That's not going to be easy. They're going to play home against the Dolphins. That's not a gimme game, especially after last year's matchup between those two sides. But then the Steelers game, which looks a lot easier compared to the previous 2 games. But then you remember Lamar against the Steelers. In fact, Lamar against the AFC North, it's not as successful as Lamar against other opponents, like in the NFC, right? Lamar is 2-4 against the Steelers all time in his Ravens career. And then you also add in this. The Ravens, in win-and-in scenarios in the final week of the season, choke artist. Week 18, 2021. First time we had a Week 18 in the NFL. The Ravens win and get some help, are in. But they couldn't even get their end of the bargain done. You had Ben Roethlisberger take down Baltimore in overtime so that the Steelers could go get just verbally and physically assaulted by the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round. But that's not the first time the Ravens had a win-and-in potential scenario. Go back in time, 2017. Joe Flacco was the quarterback. And what did the Ravens do against a Bengals team that had nothing to play for? They gave up a 40-plus yard touchdown bomb to Tyler Boyd with less than a minute to go to lose the game and send Buffalo to the playoffs. So the Ravens have been here before, and they're not very good at it in the final week of the season. My prediction is I think the Ravens are going to win the AFC North. Whether they win 2 games or 3 games and just get it done on their own, or even if they just win 1 game. You need the Ravens to win 1 game. You need the Browns to win all 3 games. Asking for both these things to happen, it just seems like too big of a long shot when I factor in. It's not like the Ravens are a fraudulent 11-win team. Like they're playing maybe their best ball the entire year right now. So for them to go 1-2 down the stretch, I just don't think that's going to happen. Final element, though, for all you sickos that want the 1 seed, let's talk about it. It's not impossible, but you need a lot of help, okay? Here is the easiest and what I believe most digestible path for the Browns to the 1 seed. Number 1, win out, finish 12-5, okay? Number 2, the Chiefs need to lose 1 game. If the Chiefs and Browns finish with the same record, the Chiefs will have the tiebreaker based on conference wins. We need the Chiefs to lose at least 1 game because they too have 9 wins right now so that they don't finish with more than 11. Step 3, the Ravens lose 2 games. Can't let the Ravens also finish with you can't let the Ravens finish with 12, 13 wins and have the tiebreaker over Cleveland potentially. It gets a bit hairy with the Ravens, but have them lose 2 games to the 49ers and the Dolphins or the Steelers. Step 4 and step 5. The Dolphins need to lose 1 game because they're at 10 wins right now. And if the Dolphins get to 12 wins, in a lot of scenarios, they're going to have the tiebreaker over Cleveland. But I also need the Dolphins to lose to Baltimore or Buffalo. They need an extra AFC loss. Really, they can't have 2 more AFC wins because then they're going to have more AFC wins than the Browns, and that's going to serve as a tiebreaker over Cleveland. So either Dolphins to lose a game. We also can't have the Dolphins lose to the Cowboys and then beat the Ravens and then beat the Buffalo Bills to end the season. So they can beat the Cowboys, lose to the Ravens, or lose to the Bills, but we can't have them lose to the Cowboys and then win the last 2 games because then they get the tiebreaker over Cleveland. Still a lot of football left, 3 weeks, so there's still a lot of hurdles to get there. But for now, this is the Browns' most digestible path to the 1 seed. Before we sign off and let you guys get on out of here, what's your Super Bowl prediction? I know we're very late for them, but hey, it's kind of fun. So, Super Bowl predictions? We're talking Soupies? I think the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. And my preseason prediction was the Dolphins go to the Super Bowl. I mean, of course, I'm going to pull for the Browns, no doubt about it. But if everyone just said their favorite team goes to the Super Bowl, well, sure, they'd be a pretty normal fan. But I feel like then I wouldn't have any credibility when it comes to predicting stuff. So I think we might see Dolphins and 49ers in the Super Bowl. Who says no?